The allure of action movie villains is rooted in their complexity and the intrigue they bring to the narrative. Unlike the often straightforward heroes, villains introduce nuance, depth, and unpredictability into action films. They are not merely obstacles for the protagonist, but are essential to driving the plot and eliciting emotional responses from the audience. This allure stems from their backstories, motivations, and the charisma they often exude, making them memorable and, at times, even relatable. The significance of understanding this allure is pivotal to appreciating the full narrative arc of action films. Villains are the catalysts for conflict, and their deeper, sometimes hidden backstories add layers to the overall story. When a villain's motivations are well developed and depicted with depth, they transform from mere antagonists to compelling characters whose actions can be understood, if not justified. This understanding enhances the viewing experience by prompting audiences to consider moral ambiguities and the complexities of human nature. Take, for example, the character of Eric Killmonger from Black Panther. His backstory of abandonment and his desire for empowerment make him a sympathetic character, even as he pursues destructive means. His motivations are tied to broader themes of racial injustice and identity, lending him a depth that resonates with audiences. Similarly, Hans Gruber from Die Hard exemplifies a villain who captivates through his wit, charm, and intelligence, steering the story with a calm, calculating demeanor that contrasts with the chaotic environment around him. Opinions on the allure of villains often highlight their role in catalyzing introspection about moral and ethical dilemmas. Villains can symbolize societal fears, personal anxieties, or real-world challenges, offering a canvas for filmmakers to explore complex themes. However, some critics argue that glamorizing villains can blur moral lines, potentially leading viewers to empathize with destructive or harmful behaviors. The allure of action movie villains is intrinsically linked to other aspects of the main topic, such as the storyline's tension and the hero's development. A well-crafted villain not only tests the hero's physical and moral limits, but also serves as a mirror to the protagonist's own flaws and virtues. This dynamic is crucial for creating a compelling narrative arc, where the clash between hero and villain ultimately leads to growth and resolution. In essence, the allure of action movie villains lies in their complexity and the richness they add to storytelling. Understanding their backstories allows audiences to engage more deeply with the narrative, offering a more nuanced view of the battle between good and evil and reflecting the intricate nature of human motivations and morality. The evolution of villain backstories in cinema refers to the changing nature of how antagonists are portrayed, particularly in action movies. Traditionally, villains were often presented as one-dimensional characters, defined merely by their opposition to the protagonist. However, there's been a notable shift towards creating more nuanced, complex backstories that provide depth and motivation for their villainous actions. This evolution has elevated the entire narrative, allowing audiences to engage on a deeper emotional level and sometimes even empathize with the villain's perspective. This evolution is significant because it reshapes the dynamics of action movies. By crafting intricate backstories, filmmakers add layers to the narrative, transforming what might have been straightforward good versus evil battles into more compelling stories about conflicting ideologies or personal traumas. This makes the viewing experience richer and often more thought-provoking. Villain backstories can serve as social commentary, reflecting contemporary issues and moral ambiguities that resonate with audiences on a personal level. One prime example is the character of Eric Killmonger in Black Panther. Killmonger's backstory, involving abandonment and racial injustice, provides a rationale for his antagonism, making him a sympathetic character whose motives, although extreme, have a grounding in real-world issues. Another example is the Joker from The Dark Knight, whose chaotic nature is explored through hints of a troubled past, inviting viewers to speculate on the circumstances that led to his descent into madness. Opinions supporting this shift suggest it reflects more sophisticated storytelling that respects the intelligence of the audience. Filmmakers and critics alike argue that well-crafted villain backstories add to the film's artistic and emotional depth, ultimately leading to more memorable and influential characters. However, this approach is not without challenges. Some argue that overly detailed backstories can detract from the mystery or intrigue that makes villains compelling in the first place. There's also a risk of humanizing villains to the point where their actions are minimized or excused, potentially sending conflicting messages to the audience. The evolution of villain backstories is intricately connected to other aspects of the main topic, by redefining the hero-villain dynamic and influencing the structure and themes of action movies. It challenges writers and directors to create more balanced narratives, where heroes too must display complexity to match their adversaries. Overall, this trend signifies a broader shift in storytelling, demanding characters with depth and realism in an increasingly sophisticated cinematic landscape. Psychological complexity in action movie villains refers to the intricate and multifaceted nature of their mental and emotional states. Rather than portraying villains as mere embodiments of evil, this concept explores their motivations, traumas, and personal histories that drive their actions. Understanding these elements offers a richer perspective on their characters, presenting them not simply as obstacles for heroes to overcome, but as complex individuals with their own narratives and motivations. The significance of this concept to the topic of action movie villains lies in its ability to enhance storytelling. Movies that delve into a villain's psychological complexity often deliver more engaging and thought-provoking narratives. By revealing the layers of a villain's psyche, these films invite audiences to empathize with, or at least understand, the antagonist's perspective, transforming what could be a two-dimensional character into a pivotal part of the cinematic experience. For example, in Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight, the Joker isn't just a chaotic force, but a character with a mysterious, troubled past that leaves audiences questioning the roots of his anarchic philosophy. Similarly, Magneto from the X-Men series is portrayed not just as a villain, but as a Holocaust survivor whose traumatic experiences shape his worldview, making his actions more understandable, if not justifiable. These portrayals challenge audiences to think about the origins of villainy and the thin line between heroism and villainy. Supporters of this approach argue that it reflects real-world complexities where individuals' backgrounds and experiences may lead them toward destructive paths, highlighting the role of context in shaping behavior. Critics, however, may argue that in-depth exploration of villainous backstories can dilute the impact of their evil deeds, potentially leading to moral ambiguity where clear moral judgments are needed for narrative purposes. Despite potential controversies, psychological complexity in villains enhances other elements of action movies by driving plot lines, creating emotional stakes, and allowing heroes to develop through their interactions with multifaceted adversaries. It also opens dialogues about redemption, accountability, and the societal factors contributing to the making of a villain. In essence, exploring psychological complexity not only enriches the character of the villain, but also elevates the entire narrative, making for a more compelling and nuanced film that resonates with audiences on multiple levels. This blend of character study and moral exploration keeps viewers engaged, turning a simple showdown between hero and villain into a profound narrative journey. In the realm of action movies, villains serve as the ultimate counterbalance to the hero, often embodying the darkest aspects of human nature. The heading Iconic Villains and Their Unseen Origins delves into the unexplored backstories that craft these formidable antagonists. This concept refers to the intricate and often hidden histories that shape these characters into the villains we recognize on screen. These backstories offer depth and dimension, transforming a mere antagonist into a complex individual driven by relatable motivations, traumas, or ideologies. The significance of this point lies in its ability to elevate the narrative. By understanding a villain's origins, audiences gain insight into their actions, making them more than just obstacles for the hero to overcome. This depth of character can lead to a more engaging and emotionally resonant story. Two examples illustrate this effectively. Take Heath Ledger's Joker in The Dark Knight. His chaotic nature is underscored by ambiguous and conflicting backstories, each a facet of the mystery and terror that make him unforgettable. Another example is Eric Killmonger from Black Panther, whose painful past and ideological conflicts present him as more than just an adversary, but a character with a morally complex viewpoint that challenges the hero and the audience alike. Supporting opinions suggest that these unseen origins provide a level of sophistication to the narrative, inviting viewers to ponder moral ambiguities and the thin line between good and evil. Understanding a villain's motivations can evoke a sense of empathy or even sympathy, enriching the viewing experience. However, exploring these backstories isn't without challenges or controversies. Some critics argue that excessively detailed origins can humanize villains to the point of undermining their menace or detracting from the hero's journey. Additionally, there's the risk of over-explaining, which can strip away the mystique that makes certain villains compelling. This exploration of villains' unseen origins significantly influences the broader topic by highlighting their critical role in the narrative structure of action movies. Villain backstories not only deepen the plot, but also serve as a mirror reflecting societal issues, personal vendettas, or existential dilemmas, which in turn enrich the hero's evolution. By understanding and embracing the complexity of villainous characters, filmmakers can craft stories that resonate on multiple levels, engaging audiences both intellectually and emotionally, and enhancing the overall impact of the cinematic experience.